Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Houston, Texas. It's time for Houston Business Radio. Now, here's your host.
Hello, Houston. Trisha Stetzel here, bringing you another episode of Houston Business Radio. Today, I have an extraordinary guest on with me, a true champion of economic empowerment and a powerhouse in leadership and business coaching. With 25 years of experience in early childhood care and education, she has dedicated her career to transforming child care centers into thriving, meaningful impact for children, families, and business owners alike. She's made it her mission to be the ally she once needed, helping others rise above challenges and find their true why. Her belief in the power of lifting each other up is a cornerstone of her work and a key driver of her vision for the future. Nikkie Handy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Trisha. I'm so happy to see you again, and I'm thrilled.
Oh my goodness, me too. And we just like oogled over each other when we first came on the show, right? So
exactly, it was like instant brain crush.
Exactly. Way back in October, I
Yeah.
met Nikkie at the Franchise Business Review Summit, and somehow at that summit, with the 200 or 300 people that were there, Nikkie and I ended up in the same place at the same time, doing the same thing, walking to the event afterwards, and we totally bonded. It was
Yes.
amazing. So, Nikkie, I know I've given, the bio version of who you are, but tell me more about who Nikkie is and how you got started in this childcare business. And I know you're a franchise coach, so talk a little bit about that as well.
Absolutely. So I sort of wear it as a badge of honor that I started out very young in the industry and worked my way up from the very, very bottom. So you name it, from infant teacher to curriculum coordinator to center director to site area director to implementation, I have served in some sort of capacity. And these days in my role as a franchise business coach, I really serve as that sort of safe place, trusted resource, like an opportunity to externalize your thinking and strategize about your business, so that each one of my franchise center owners has a way to sharpen their tools and get those resources lined up so that their business can become that hub of opportunity, a place for community and connection and meaningful work, and just incredibly transformative work to happen for the children that attend these programs, but also the career pathways for women in the industry. Because especially in early childhood care and education, it's heavily populated by women. There's a lot of Black, Hispanic, Asian women that enter this role naturally. Women sort of are caregivers by nature. And one thing that really gets me excited is just thinking about how we can build career pathways for them, ultimately expanding those opportunities. Imagine if some of these ladies started at, I'm the afternoon closer in the infant classroom all the way up to the C-suite, and just how inspiring that would be to other women, and really making more possible, putting more opportunity on the table. So that's I like to call it my secret mission, right? Because my main mission is really contributing to that, the economic success, that hub of industry that really supports these salaries. But my side mission is that work to create opportunity for women. That happened to me at certain pivot points in my career. Somebody looked at Nikkie Handy and said, I see something there that has value. Let me offer an opportunity, get a toehold in that next level, a little bit of coaching or support to try to equip you to be successful, and take it and run with it. And sometimes women can be a little bit territorial or resource guard, because wherever you got to in your career, you really had to make effort to get there. And so we're not as good as coaching each other up. And that is so fun for me to see, like, these women layer on a set of business acumen skills, corporate savvy, onto their already big heart and to create this dynamic working professional. I'm just like, go girl, get all the way to the top.
I love that. And, before we started the show, you were talking about you were talking about numbers, like how many women enter into this field at the level that you entered into. Yet when we look at the CEOs, the presidents, the owners of these franchises, we don't often see women as owners. So talk a little bit about that. And I know that rolls into the mission that you have. Yeah.
It does. So if you pull up like the top 4 largest childhood early learning companies in this continent, you're going to see that those C-suite executives are heavily male populated, and they came into that role having the business acumen, that corporate savvy, but not the experience of that boots on the ground, working their way up, deep connection with the work that happens in their organization. And to me, it seems like such a disparity that there should be a representation of the face of the industry at that top 1%, at the leadership, right? And so I think, man, wouldn't that be energizing and reinforcing for all of the women who choose this as a career path to be able to look up and say, oh my gosh, I work for Tiffany Alanese, who I know that she started in the classroom and just like me, and look, there she is, chief executive officer. That's something that I think is truly, it's a little bit of a blind spot in our industry. And oftentimes it has to do with that coaching aspect, which I feel like I sort of discovered my niche, my superpower, if you will, that coaching has to do a lot with accumulating those nuggets of wisdom, being committed to being a lifelong learner. You rub shoulders with brilliant people that are good at what they do, and you try to, let some of that rub off on you. But then the next step is getting that into as many hands as possible so that success reinforces itself. And so that's what I really want to accomplish. If I could leave a legacy in my career in this industry, it is that right there, is getting that good magic as far reaching as possible to see as many women just elevate their own careers and their earning opportunity, if we're being honest, and building a legacy for their own family as possible.
Yeah, I love that. And, I'm sure you and I talked about this when we first met. And it sometimes as women, we don't see ourselves as being at the top, right? As being that CEO. So we don't visualize that very often. So normally we're just okay with being where we're at, right? We're okay with being okay. So what are some of the tools or tactics that you use to help these women really understand that there's so much more for them than where they are today?
I love, that's such a great question. And I'm going to probably start preaching. So stop me if I really get a steam going. But here's what I think really, really should start happening is that women need to take the time to point out pockets of brilliance, raw talent, a growth mindset when they see it, and start illustrating for other women what's possible, right? If I look you in the eye and say, wow, what you said right there, or that little project that you brought to fruition, or that presentation that you gave blew me away. More people need to know about this. More people need to do what you're doing. Do you know how incredible you are? Because I feel that, just like we were talking about the representation in that top 1% in our industry, that sometimes your eyes need to be opened to the possibilities. And right now in early childhood care and education, there's kind of a sensation that there's a cap to where you can go, where your career trajectory can take you, right? And that might be, an area director or implementation specialist. And so I feel that a lot of women have limited themselves, and you said it yourself, the visualization part is so key, because every high performing athlete does this. You have to see yourself in your mind's eye winning that to get there. It's like your brain needs to see that's possible, to start seeing the opportunities that will arise, the development and growth that you need to get there. And until you can visualize that, then you will limit yourself. And so sometimes it's about really pointing out to say, I know you're capable of way more than what you're doing. And that is when somebody says that to you, when somebody sits down and says, like, I can see there's so much more to you, that is like, it's like drinking super fuel. Like you're like, okay, I might be wearing a Superman suit under this shirt. I'm pretty sure I am.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're pushing women in your industry, and specifically as a coach in the franchise that you're a part of. How do we, or what are your thoughts on how we as women who want to support other women, how do we do that? There's so many women out there, like where when I grew up in corporate, right? There was a lot of, well, I don't know if I can do that. Well, I'm not sure if I can get there, or there's only one position open, so I'm not going to support the other women that are in my organization because there's only 3 of us, right? So one of us is
Exactly.
going to get that role and the other 2 aren't. So how do we, you and I know, right? We're like elbowing them to get to the top. And what I've realized over the years is that we really need to create this sensation of supporting each other as women, getting to the top. So what are your thoughts on how do we do that? How do we foster and nurture women even beyond the ones that you have regular contact with in a
Yeah.
bigger way?
Yeah. Again, I love that question. And I think that, that this conversation is big, and it has big ramifications, because it's fascinating to me that women are really great friends and they're great at nurturing relationships. What I think is missing, that magic sauce in the recipe, is that we need to be able to push each other to build the skill, to reach just beyond your capacity, to be bold, to like grab that seat at the table and say, no, I deserve to be there, be here. You know, if I'm sitting across the table and like, so my dear friend Candace Gillum, I need to connect you with her, because this woman is brilliant, right? The way that she thinks is like, I'm playing checkers and she's playing 3D chess, right? She's brilliant, but she really needed a safe space to say, you know, I have imposter syndrome. Like I'm part of the conversation. I have a seat at the table, but I feel like I shouldn't be there. And that led to a whole conversation surrounding what are the minute actions that we can take to start to combat that imposter syndrome. And I feel that women oftentimes lean into the care and support, that if I just offered a safe shoulder for her to kind of lament, to like, oh, this is my experience, and I'm like, Candace, I get it, and you know, I'm here, I'm cheering you on, right? That we stopped
Mhm.
short of what could take her to the next level. And men actually do this for each other all the time, because they're like, bro, you're selling yourself short. Or like, hey, come on, man, really? That's all you're doing? And what I have liked, what I've done in my coaching experience is to really start, I take some of the little nuggets out of Radical Candor, and some of the, I don't know if you've ever read Professional Troublemaker by Levi Ajayi. If you haven't, you need to, because it's about boldness, and it's about being able to say the thing that needs to be said.
Mhm.
And what I found is that if you marry up the care, the compassion, all the nurturing that you've done to cement that relationship, and leverage it to start saying to that woman sitting across the table, is like, I know you have more. I know you can do better. And then break it down to say, we're going to hold each other accountable for taking the steps to get there, because it's a disservice to you. It's a
Mhm.
disservice to the world to not maximize your brilliance. And that is what, that's a skill that I think a lot of female leaders really need to start thinking about how to build in themselves, is that it's great to be a really relational leader. It's fantastic to work from that relationship to get high functioning teams. Now we need to take it that step further to be to build the mutual respect that comes, and that the good things that grow when you can be the one to tell them the thing that needs to be said. That is, it's next level, and it's really rewarding when you get to that place with another woman.
I love that. I'm thinking about when you were talking about the brilliance that each of us has that we need to bring forward and up. I think about it as a gift that we all have to give. And if we hold it to ourselves, then the people who are meant to receive that gift are never rewarded. So we
Yes.
need, right? We need to step up and we need to be better for each other and we need to nurture each other. I'm so excited about this conversation that we're having today, Nikkie. So if people have listened this far and they want to connect with you, how
Yeah.
might they find you and connect with you to have an even bigger conversation about this?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on LinkedIn, Nikkie Handy, and for me, that networking component is really about the tapping into the wisdom that lives in the collective experience that women in industry are having. So you don't even have to be in early childhood care and education to connect with this message that I have, with this work that I'm doing, because I am quite positive if you're working, through you are in a spa, or you're, working in a pediatric clinic, that you're probably hearing things that connect to your own experiences, and maybe you're feeling that same sensation. It's like, how do I break the glass ceiling? How do I get to the next level? Maybe I'm not being ambitious enough. Like, for a female, sometimes ambition sounds like a dirty word. And no, I want to encourage more women to be ambitious, because guess what? If you succeed, we all begin to succeed. And I think, grab onto that opportunity, because we're going to be riding your coattails. Let's go together.
Yes, absolutely. And by the way, it's Nikkie, Nikkie, Handy,
Correct.
Handy. So don't mistake that for another Nikkie Handy. I'm
Yes,
just
this is
saying
the
it.
Nikkie you need.
That's right. Absolutely. So, really thinking about Nikkie, like one of your favorite stories of somebody that you've mentored or coached, whether they're in the current franchise that you're in today or a place that you've been before. What's one of your favorite stories about someone that you've stood next to and helped them rise to the top?
So one of my favorite stories, I actually mentioned her name earlier because I'm manifesting for you, Tiffany Alanis. I'm manifesting for you that when I met this woman, I tell you the truth, she is humble, she is incredibly hardworking, and she was overlooked for opportunity, right? So she came into the organization that I was working with at the very entry level position that you could possibly come in at. Instantaneously, I knew that she was a wealth of talent that was just waiting to be tapped into. And immediately I felt almost like a sense of frustration on her behalf, that I'm thinking to myself, girl, why have people not been like, Tiffany Alanis is the one. Tiffany Alanis, promote her, get her into the office. I don't know. We got to do something with this talent. But I said, put that aside, because we're going to start today. And immediately we started having fantastic conversations, fruitful conversations about what should be possible for her and where she needs to kind of build herself to get to that next level. I cannot take credit for her success, because number one, she is naturally an incredible person. Number two, I think it really just took someone looking at her and saying, you can do this. I'm going to be the one to give you permission. Okay. And, and,
Yes.
and number three, a lot of it has to do with her looking at opportunities and saying, no, I'm going to be bold enough to take it today. Today is the day. And so today she's in charge of a massive implementation project in the state of Arkansas. And she is coordinating hybrid remote work in person, mind you, starting from this entry level position and just handling it like a boss lady. And I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, I want to see your star rise. This is amazing, but keep going because there's more there. There's more there. And I want to see that and I want to follow it and I want to celebrate it. And I want to just feel the warmth of the glow of the after effects of that, because that to me is the exact recipe that can be duplicated for other women who are probably selling themselves short and just need that right cheerleader at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Tiffany, we're manifesting this for you.
We
There
are
is
now.
so
We
much,
all are.
so much more there. So much more there for you. And by
Yeah.
the way, sometimes as a coach, it's enough to be there just to help the person you're coaching with permission to move forward.
Yes.
Sometimes that's all they need. They need someone to stand in their greatness, right? And say, it's okay for you to go do that. You've been thinking about it for a long time. Now
Yep.
go do it, right?
Yep.
I love that so much. All right, Nikki, as we start to get to the back end of our conversation today, what's one or two things that you would like for the listeners, especially the female listeners, the strong, bold ones who haven't
Yes.
yet taken that first right step forward? What's your message to them?
Two things I would say. Number one, today's the day, right? I think decide that you're going to be an ambitious woman and decide to be unapologetic about that, because when you frame it in the context of this larger conversation, it's not selfish. You are succeeding for your family, you're succeeding for your industry, and you're succeeding for women everywhere. So be ambitious. That's number one. Number two, we're sitting here today to give you permission to stop limiting yourself. You don't have to stop at the next level up. The C-suite is an opportunity for you. So start manifesting it, start planning to get there, and call me if you need some help on exactly how to get that far, because we're going. We're going.
Love that so much, Nikki. Thank you so much for being on the show today. It has been just a blast of beautiful, fresh, ambitious air to talk to you today.
I I just thank you for the opportunity. I'm so excited to be here, and I'll be following your career also, because like attracts like, so you're part of the tribe.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, if you want to connect with Nikki, she loves to network, by the way. You don't have to be, as she said, in her industry, loves to connect with people. It's Nikkie Handy, Handy. You can find her on LinkedIn. We may have you back again in 2025, Nikki, so we can have
I'm
another.
ready for it. I'm ready for it.
Love it. Thanks again for being here. That's all the time we have for today's show. Join us next time for another exciting episode of Houston Business Radio. Until then, stay tuned, stay inspired, and keep thriving in the Houston business community.